Hi Pisces, welcome to your Uranus in Taurus special with me, Raphael Ray from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here with me. So, the one that everybody is talking about at the moment, the one that everybody is buzzing about, let's talk about it. Let's see why. Okay, so Uranus moving into the sign of Taurus, which is going to happen in your third house, Pisces. So this is going to be especially relevant for you if you are a sun sign or especially an ascendant Piscean. This is important for you for those reasons. So Uranus represents it's the planet of change. It's the planet of revolution. It's the planet of rebellion and liberation. And the glyph itself actually represents a satellite, and it's the modern ruler of Aquarius. And that's why it talks about the thinking outside of the box. It's the higher octave of thought. It's spontaneous inspiration. It's things that make us think outside the box. It's us thinking outside the box and having spontaneous and sometimes ingenious ideas. And the other thing about this planet is what I always say about rebellion is the reason, when we rebel against something, it's because we're rebelling against the programming or the conditioning that we've been that's been forced on us by an external presence of some kind. And Uranus, it comes in and it liberates you from that by creating change. It is the planet of change. And in stark contrast to Pluto, which is like an old man or an old lady, I say, it's like the nan or the granddad that comes in and, changes everything, but, goes about it in the slowest of ways and gets right to the depth of everything and, cleans everything with a toothbrush. Whereas Uranus comes in, kicks the door open and just says, bam, here I am. These are the changes that we're making. This is what we're doing. This is the direction we're going. You're all on board. We're all going the same way. Suck it up and deal with it. It's very much that kind of experience. In the tarot, the Uranus is actually represented by the Tower card. It's that spontaneous, the thing that you can't anticipate, the unanticipated, the unplanned, the unplanned for, the unknown. It just shows up, it's spontaneous. This planet, this energy is moving into the sign of Taurus, the vehicle of Taurus. The planet is the energy, the sign is the car that it will drive effectively. Taurus is it's the earth, it's fixed earth. Taurus in the zodiac wheel is actually the second house, and it rules the monetary system, the financial system, it rules the self-worth, it rules the physical body as well, in terms of the sign itself, not necessarily the second house. Taurus represents the physical body. It represents, what we eat. It represents the environment. It represents the earth itself, the animals, the flora and the fauna. It represents, the sensual world. It represents the things that we find beauty and value in. It represents taking our time to do something, to do it well. It represents taking our time to do something well because we value it and we understand that we value it, and more importantly, we understand why. Taurus is a very slow, steady, calm, relentless energy. Uranus is a fast, bumpy sort of abstract energy. So when these two get together, there are going to be some sparks that fly, guys. There definitely are. We're going to see big revolution, big changes and revolution taking place in the monetary system, big changes and shifts happening in the monetary system, big changes and shifts happening in environmental stuff. This could be the earth itself, like geophysical, because Uranus represents electricity and it also represents explosions. So you can see things like, more volcanoes, volcanic explosions. You can see more lightning storms, more frequency of those things. You can see, effectively the planet starting to push back a little bit. Not necessarily, but it's definitely a possibility, and it's one to keep your mind open to. But you're definitely going to see big changes in these things. You're already seeing this. I think there's going to be, because Uranus rules technology, TV, radio, airwaves. Like I said, this is a satellite. It's the internet, using those things for practical things that make life, that make the environment better, that enhance the quality of life that we have. And I really believe that there's going to be more investment in the startups that are, that are about healing the planet, that are about creating, I think the Tesla stuff is going to be really important going forward. Biodegradable plastic that actually dissolves in the ocean if it happens to find its way in there. All of that sort of stuff is going to start to become really important and will be more commonplace and more practically and readily available by the time this 7-year transit is over. The other thing that's worth mentioning, speaking of transits, is Uranus takes an 84-year cycle to travel the zodiacal wheel. And that's about the span of a human life. It spends 7 years in one sign. That's a long time, and a long time to have sustained change continuously happen in your life. It can be a little bit unnerving and unsettling as well if you think about it, if you're not the sort of person that's good with that. But you're Pisces, so you're built for adventure and change. You are the original and ultimate mutable sign. If anyone can roll with the punches of change, it will be you guys. And I kind of feel like, especially because this is happening in your 3rd house, Pisces is naturally creative. Pisces, you're naturally creative, you're naturally communicative, you're naturally expressive. Sure, you find it quite difficult to navigate the strongest currents that you find yourself in, which is why it can be quite hard for you in groups of people, because you tend to go with the group consensus, you tend to go with the flow. But also, if there are a lot of strong ideas and concepts being pushed, you tend to find it difficult to separate what is your stuff and somebody else's. You guys are the original empaths. You guys are the original, spirituals. You're the culmination of everything, the melting pot of the zodiac, if you like. So there is that, and this is happening in your 3rd house. Well, what is your 3rd house? Your 3rd house is communication, it's expression, it's about expression of beauty, about understanding what you've got to say and how you say it. It's about being heard for the original and unique message that you have to offer this world. And that's really, really important that you tap into that. So Pisces, these are my trusty notes. These have been battered over the zodiac sign videos that I've done. So your 3rd house, Pisces, is in for a revolution. This won't just see you changing your communication style, it will also see you finding new ways to tell your personal story, and also have you truly appreciating that artistic and creative nature that you have. So, this is you tapping into that almost esoteric artistic wisdom that you have. Pisces has got a big draw to all things that are deep, all things that are inclusive, all things that are, artistic and dreamy and take you out of this realm and into a higher realm. And there's no higher realm than the realm of thought, of communication. That's what separates us from the animal kingdom after all. Human beings differ from their animal counterparts in the fact that we can speak, we can be self-reflective, we can, talk about things, we can write our thoughts on paper and read them back and analyze them and come to different and new, ever-expanding and increasing understandings of self and others through those mediums, through communication, but through media. So writing, reading, text messages, emails, phone calls, internet, Skype, apps, YouTube, all of this stuff. This doesn't mean that you will be painting or making music per se, or you might be doing that as well. It does, however, give you a choice It does, however, give you a choice and present you with the opportunities to find ways to express your truest beliefs and your deepest thoughts. So the parts of you that are unique, the thoughts and concepts that you have, that you come up with outside the bubble of the known, outside the bubble of the mainstream. The stuff that is all you, the stuff that is your higher octave of thought, channeled directly into your everyday environment and expressed through the media. You know, expressed through writing, speaking, commerce, converse, you know, through all of these things. And this is about you finding your higher octave of thought in a practical way to get your message out there in your third house. You know, finding ways to truly speak on stuff. For some of you, because the third house also rules siblings, just to change the subject quickly. For some of you, this could be you discovering that you have a sibling that you knew nothing about. And don't forget, this is a 7-year transit. So, you know, if it hasn't happened by the first year, and a lot of you are like, oh yeah, well, you know, that one didn't happen. Well, there's 7 years. Never say never. I'll tell you a story. You know, just as a side story, I remember having a conversation with somebody and I said to them, you'll have a son one day, but it might not be your only one. And this guy said to me, oh no, you know, I've already got 3 kids, I'm not having any more. And I said to him, who knows, you might already have one. A year later, he discovered that he had a son that was 10 years old that he didn't even know about. You know, and this is that kind of stuff. So for you, Pisces, this could very well be a sibling showing up that you didn't even know that you had. This could be you drawing a connection and connecting with a sibling that you have only just found, and finding that you're actually closer to them than you can ever imagine. That you have a bond with them that you didn't even think that you would have. You know, these are when Uranus is changing signs and it moves into a specific area, all bets are off. It's the unpredictable, it's the unknowable. Until it happens, you won't know it because you won't see it coming. You can't anticipate for something that comes and just cracks all illusions and says, oh yeah, by the way, you got to deal with this as well. You know, you won't see this coming. It's that kind of energy. This is the house of siblings, pets, and even short journeys and trips. There could be surprise short trips and unplanned journeys with siblings. These could see you getting closer to siblings, but also finding an adventurous side to yourself. This could also see you reliving your youth in some ways, and for some of you, making up for lost time. You know, as it says on the tin, you know, this is about you discovering that artistic way of self. And you know, one of the things, actually, I went to see Adele in concert about 3 years ago. And one of the things that she said really captured me, because I thought to myself, you know what, she knows. You know, she understands life. She said, the reason I disappear for so long, and I'm so grateful to my fans for giving me so long, is in order to write the music that I write, I have to have experiences. And that's exactly it. In order to be able to write, speak and communicate all of these larger philosophical thoughts that you're going to bring into the world, Pisces, you have to have experiences. You have to have experiences that shape who you are. You have to have experiences that make you think outside the box. Experiences on an every single day level with siblings, neighbours, friends and co-workers, third house stuff. You know, you have to have these spontaneous happenings on a day-to-day level with your third house and your third house communications. So friends, siblings, cousins, workmates, all of that stuff. You have to have experiences in this vernacular in order to share the messages of those. This could also see short trips, weekend breaks, road trips and any kind of spontaneous travel may call you away from your dwelling more frequently than you anticipate. So you can see yourself traveling a lot more than you expect to, not just for work, not just for speaking, not just for commerce, but, you know, just for enjoyment. And you could find that this is happening a lot. You know, maybe your partner or your partner's friends, you know, who you will possibly make friends with, maybe co-workers, you know, a lot more team building exercises, just constantly people saying to you, oh, we're going here, do you want to come, do you want to tag along? Go to as many of these invites as you can, because as many of these invites as you go to, you're going to have these spontaneous everyday experiences that are going to allow you to decide what your personal truth is, what your personal outlook and philosophy is, what the message is that you truly have to share with the world now. You might find a new pet introduced to you or thrust on you for some reason, and in time this may become an addition to your home. So, you know, you might have friends or co-workers that leave the country and say, you know, we're packing up and selling up and moving and we can't take the dog or the cat with us. Do you want the cat? Do you want the dog? This could see you, you know, getting a new pet, and spontaneously as well. It could see you deciding that you want a pet now, you know, just as easily. This transit may also ask you to start to incorporate technology in how you get your message out there. It might surprise you in finalizing and revealing, or certainly on a personal level, understanding the depth of your message for the world, and it might see you utilizing technology to get that message out there, whether it's web design, blogging, vlogging, or even just sending out a newsletter. You know, and the newsletter, there's a certain specific someone, Pisces, you know who you are, sis. A newsletter would be a really great way to raise your profile in what you do. So think about that. Uranus is the revolutionary thinker and the blaster of chains of outmoded thought. I love that. The breaker of chains of outmoded thought. And you know, the third house is your thought. It's your higher thought, your communication, your expression. It's the house of Gemini. It's about what you say and how you say it. And Uranus being in this arena or in this sector is going to ask you to really think about getting creative and even a little bit rebellious about the stuff that you talk about. You now have a new lease on life because Uranus is going to inject some youth into your outlook and also your interactions and your communications. You are about to become a master communicator for your own truth, and this third house transit of Uranus asks you to roll with the changes that will inevitably occur, but ultimately this energy is asking you to get clear on your own story and your own myth and how they can teach the world something about what it is and who each person hears your story is in it. This is the beauty of this transit for you. By truly understanding all of who you are and what your message is, you can show people what their part in the world is. And ultimately, Pisces as a sign is about service to the world. It's about, you know, because it represents hospitals, asylums, you know, it's the care industry, you know, the healing professions, all of that stuff, you know, and the institutions of healing and stuff. This is, you know, Pisces is the sign that's about healing the world, about looking after the world, about the mass, you know, about love for the masses. Not so, you know, Aquarius is the sign of the group and the tribe, you know, and looking after it and protecting it and, you know, realizing its consciousness, whereas Pisces is about its spirit. It's about its spiritual needs and the fulfillment that comes from bettering humanity on a spiritual level. This is you know, finding the way to truly teach people how to value themselves and truly teach people that when you have something to say and you feel that it's important to say it, you never know how far reaching what you say will affect somebody, you know, and it could be important. And I've said this to so many people that I've read for over the years because I truly believe it. Sometimes other people's destinies rely on you doing what you're supposed to do in your destiny for them to achieve theirs. And who knows, you know, maybe it's your progress that's holding the world up. Maybe it's your book, maybe it's your message, maybe it's your vlog, maybe it's your unique message that the world is waiting on. And then finally, the challenge is going to come in not being shocking for the sake of it, but rather being honest and open, and when needed, a little bit of a rebel. So that's, you know, that's your astrology over this transit. This is, you know, what it's all about. I would like to bless this deck with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. Don't forget to come back to this video. It's not just going to happen now and then it's over. This is a 7-year transit, and I would love to say that all of you will still be with me after 7 years. It would be beautiful and we could talk about just how far you've come and what you've achieved. You know, dip back into it over this time to see if it marries up, or if there's anything else that you can glimpse or glean from it that's important. The first year of this transit will see you having conversations and conflict in conversations. Interestingly enough, the Five of Swords represents fraught communication. It represents the small battles that we have every day. So this could see you arguing with co-workers and siblings and stuff, and it's because Pisces, you've got something to say, and where usually you're this kind of gentle, meek person, you're coming into this time where you've got something to say and you will be heard, and you're not holding back for anything or anyone. You are going for it. And that's brilliant. It's actually a beautiful evolution to see in and for and of you. The only thing that I would say is just don't forget to give other people their moment to speak as well. The second year of this transit sees you letting go of something, and letting go of, you know, it might well be you letting go of the self that was quiet and the self that was meek. This is going to see you getting really proactive. The second year asks you to let go of the self-consciousness. It asks you to let go of the fear. It asks you to let go of that part of you that is quiet and subdued. And it asks you to move forward and move beyond it. Lots of swords. So, you know, swords is air. Air is communication. It's the intellect. So, you know, this is really, really shaping up for you guys in a big way. Okay, the third year of this transit, the Emperor. This sees you standing firm in your own power, but it also sees you leading by example. There is not anything that you will say to anybody over the next 7 years that you would, this is going to see you leading by example. So when you say to somebody, oh, you know, you should do this, or you should think about doing that, or you will be at the forefront saying, this is what I mean. Let me show you how it's done. The Emperor card represents the sign of Aries, and the Emperor was the ruler. He was the final stop. You know, he had advisors, he had friends and family and all the rest of it who would give him advice, but ultimately the final decision was his. And in the third year of this transit, this sees you really come into grips with and to terms with being the authority in your own life and showing people what you mean when you say, do it like this. Do as I do, not do as I say. As I believe somebody put it recently on one of my other videos. The fourth year of this transit sees you success. It sees you achieving something. It sees you really establishing yourself. So the Chariot card means victory. It means success and accomplishment of something. It means that you win. So in the third year, you might find that you come into some sort of legal challenge, whether it's copywriting, whether it's you copywriting the ideas and the philosophies that you come up with, whether this is somebody trying to encroach on your work and saying, right, well, okay, I'll take you to court over this because I want it. This sees you, especially in the fourth year, you come out victorious. So anything that somebody tries to take from you, anything that somebody tries to put their stamp on that belongs to you, they will not succeed. The fifth year of this transit Justice. I mean, look at this. You've got 3 major cards in the middle of this transit, which is huge. The Justice card means that you're taking something official, means you're signing the documents. This will be the year that you get published. This will be the year that your book gets published. This will be the year that you, the year that you get noticed. This will be the year that your message goes viral. This will be the year that you start to see direct results on a practical level of the work that you have done. All that you've done in the first 4 years is formulate a structure for what it is that you have to say, or the course that you develop. In the 5th year, you see it become a tangible, real thing that is official. Kind of like maybe if it's a book, it gets published. If it's a mystery school, it gets put out there. If it's a business, it finally goes live. If it's a website, it finally goes up. You know, it's that kind of thing. The 6th year of this transit sees the King of Wands. For some of you, so this is a fire sign male, Aries, Leo or Sagittarius. And this sees somebody coming in that is fun and vibrant and exciting. This sees somebody coming into your life that's going to change things, that's going to challenge your communication, but they'll challenge your communication in a really positive way, in a fun and cajoling way. They're going to challenge you on your beliefs and what it is that you've got to say and what your message is, and they're going to excite you about that, and they'll make the depth of your commitment to what you have to say even stronger, and they will support you in this. You know, people say, oh, the fire signs and the water signs don't get on. Not always, but this feels like somebody that you're going to have a lot in common with, somebody that you will really almost probably a Sagittarian. You know, it could be a Saggy, or I mean, Aries seems like a bit too harsh of a match, but yeah, it would be interesting to see how this plays out. But certainly somebody comes along that challenges you, but challenges you in the best way. And when it represents an archetype of self, it means that you become the authority. You know, what you say and how you say it and the message that you have doesn't just, you know, go viral or anything like that, but you become an authority in the specific field that you move into. And then finally, the 7th year of this transit, you get the Strength card. This is beautiful. This means that you will, you know, so this person will be a Leo male that comes forward and really shares their knowledge with you, really enjoys life with you and challenges you to enjoy your own life. And the Strength card coming forward means that your physical health will be great, and through the constant expression of who you are and being able to constantly evolve your expression of who you are, you will discover a new aspect of health. Your body will feel lighter and brighter than it ever has before, and you will appear more beautiful to people because you won't be bogged down by anything. This is about you putting your heart and soul into something and having the strength and the courage to really go for it. This is about being your unique and authentic self like never before, and the next 7 years is just going to carry you towards that goal. It's going to put you in the limelight in some way, shape or form. Pisces, I wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance itself. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you feel to and this video has helped you in some way, shape or form, you can donate to the channel on the link below. We would be eternally grateful for it. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon.